The Wes Penre Papers. A Journey Through the Multiverse. The First Level of Learning. http://wespenre.com. Soulution Section. Soulution Paper Number 6, Coming Full Circle. The Future, and the End of the Universe. By Wes Penre, Friday, September 2, 2011. http://wespenre.com. 1. Quality of Love and Light. The Old Atlantean Karma Revisited. We humans have come to a point in our evolution when we are using energy and earth resources negatively to such a degree that a balancing out is imminent. It happens to almost all civilizations at a certain level of their development, and either they survive it or they succumb. We are right now destroying the planet we live on. The oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico is such a tragic and devastating event that one just wants to sit down and cry for days. Mother Earth is bleeding and her life force is depleted. This is where the sun, the stars, and the galactic center, the womb of the mother, are coming to assistance, and we have no choice but to repent. This is the time of the Great Reckoning, and if we don't wake up we will be up for big surprises, and we will not like it, not one bit. They say it's always darkest before the dawn. We have reached the point now when there is complete darkness on Earth. We have come full circle with the old Atlantis that was allegedly swept away by the flood. Although it was a mix of natural and man-made/ET-made events which created this drastic change on Earth, its implications had meaning on many different levels of existence. The Great Flood was also a cleansing of Mother Earth. The destructive forces were swept away with a gigantic cosmic broomstick. The same thing can happen again, but this time worse, because we didn't learn last time. There was a very small harvest during the end of the previous Atlantic cycle. Most had to start all over in a half-full great year cycle and try again. Today, most of the same people who were here during the Atlantean time are here today to live out their karma. It's easy to compare the history available on Atlantis and Lemuria and compare it with America of today. It's stunning how we are making the same effects, and even though many know, they do it anyway, thinking they'll get away with it this time if they do it slightly different. No. That's not going to happen. We are here to make totally different choices this time. Still, the harvest is going to be small this time too in comparison to how many people there are on the planet. But that's why we need the numbers. We need enough people to see the light to bring about a new Earth with a higher, collective consciousness. There are those who have seen the relation between the old Atlantean era and America of today, and these are the people who are now receiving the information carried on gamma rays and who have informed themselves through literature and from looking inside for answer. They have set up and connected a great network between themselves and the multiverse called the Internet. It's easy to see how destructive we have become as a species. Not only are we trashing our own planet, we are also trashing space around Earth with space junk. We can't even stick to littering our own planet and we're talking about space travel? Be real. There is no good alien race worth its name that is going to land tomorrow and tell us they want us to be part of the galactic community. They are not crazy. Do we really think that these highly advanced spiritual aliens we are interested in would even consider that we as a species are taught how to space travel, how to use Einstein-Rosen bridges to travel from one point in the universe to another? Then, when we leave our destination, we leave trash and effects from nuclear fallout wherever we go. Unfortunately, through technology transfer programs, not so responsible ETS have traded technology so advanced that it seems like, if true, that we already are savvy at space traveling to other star systems, albeit this is restricted to the clique belonging to the global elite and the highest levels of military. Whistleblowers from within the military say that these technologies are going to be released to the public soon, because there is no way to keep it hidden anymore, but we'll see if and when this will actually happen and for what purpose. 2. God's Black Angels. Anyhow, this is the reality. Before things are getting better, it's going to be worse for all of us. I would be a liar if I said otherwise. I am not trying to be a messenger of doom and gloom, but I would be a hypocrite if I withheld information from the public because it's not spiritual enough. If an earthquake is coming your way, would you rather not know? The truth must be told, even when it's not always pleasant. There will be a lot of earth changes, and the ones we have experienced now are just mild breezes. James McCanney's Surviving the Planet X passage, which can be found in the e-book section of this website, is a must-read. Doom and gloom perhaps, but we need to know what we are up for, and my papers are suggesting how to counter this. We are really going to experience cosmic phenomena described in the Book of Revelations. Only thing is, there is not going to be a Jesus to come down and save us, other than the Anunnaki King, God Nanner, and his angels, who will descend from heaven to earth to allegedly defeat the dark forces, Marduk and his clan, and the global elite plus all who support them, in the infamous Battle of Armageddon. Of course, just like in Sumerian time and before, humans will be used as their foot soldiers and cannon fodder. They will want us to take sides. We are either for or against God, and depending whom we choose to follow determines where we will go when Satan/Marduk is defeated. With whom do you think the majority of people of Earth will unite? People will unite to either side out of fear. Down from heaven comes a force so incredible that people will freeze in their bodies, something like taken from J.R.R. Tolkien's epic. Giants in full armor will show themselves and their troops to humans and tell us they are the angels of God. They will tell us this in such a way that it coincides with the Bible, word by word. They dictated the Book of Revelation in the first place, so they should know, and even atheists will be convinced and turn to God. They will give Marduk's loyalists a chance to repent and obey to the kingdom, and they won't. An enormous war, probably including nuclear weapons, will rage on Earth for years, and the majority of the human population will die. The heavenly forces will have no mercy, and those who are not for them are against them, and they will kill and slaughter, left and right. Remember, the Enlil/Jehovah didn't even spare the babies in Jericho. Nice God. Well, this time around, say certain sources, read Dr. A.R. Borden and the LPGC, it's different, because the new king is pro-human and wants to leave Earth to us. After he's slaughtered the majority of the population, directly and indirectly. Violence feeds violence, remember? However, God's angels will defeat the demons from the bottomless pit, read Earthbound Anunnaki and what seem to be their allies, a faction of Greys, and when it's all over and the global battlefield is still filled with smoke and huge piles of dead bodies, the Messiah is going to enter the stage. A fair and tall, bearded man with long hair will descend from heaven. He will tell the remainder of the human race that they are the chosen ones, and people will think he is the Christ, the second coming of the Messiah, as predicted in the scriptures. People will bow down to him, and he will say that he now is going to create paradise of earth. Dead bodies will easily be taken care of, with help of technology outside the scope of our comprehension, and probably transported interdimensionally to a trash station somewhere in space, and the planet will eventually be restored. Nanner/Jesus, or perhaps someone whom Nanner has chosen for the job, says that either he and his angels, or his angels alone, will remain on Earth for another 1,000 years to help his beloved humans to become self-sufficient and taught how to protect their real estate, Earth, who is now given to them, his chosen people. People of all faith will believe this, because they can see it with their own eyes, and as usual, like they always did, the Anunnaki will impress humans with their technology, which at first will be presented as miracles, but later as technology that they are here to let humans take part of. The heavenly angels, the skeleton crew of Anunnaki who will stay on Earth, overseeing the project as Nanner's emissaries, and also in charge of their reptilian/Draco/Grey cohorts, will be in charge of building enormous cities in all parts of the planet, an expansion of the smart cities the global elite have prepared for them. For the record, I am using two different scenarios here in my paper, because I am still ambivalent as of whether the Marduk section of the Anunnaki is really in serious conflict with the Nibiru home planet or not, or if it's just a play for the masses. It seems to me when I read Sitchin, The Wars of Gods and Men, that if I read between the lines, the Anunnaki who left Earth to go back to the space platform, battleship Nibiru, and later back to the home planet, left Marduk here together with those who chose to stay and used them as a skeleton crew until the end times, which is now, to rule until the king comes back. Maybe we humans are to believe there is a serious conflict here, but in reality, although the Anunnaki have always fought internally for power, Marduk's team is intentionally here to fulfill prophecy, and now it's time to reduce the human population again and rule more openly, like in the good old days of ancient Sumeria and earlier. The Battle of Armageddon was therefore planned and staged in detail a long time ago by this same alien species. If this is true, and I doubt not that this is the case, the logical conclusion would be that even if Marduk has issues with his own people at times, he is playing the script voluntarily. It is said that the deception in the end times will be great and go beyond people's comprehension, remember? It will take everybody by surprise. In the cities technology will rule, and people will be more and more robotic, half human and half machine, as their body parts, when they are worn out, are replaced with machine parts, super high technology, so that humans can live longer. The price they pay is that they will become more and more soulless, because they don't understand that each body part in the human body is alive and has consciousness in itself and has a metaphysical function. The heart, for example, opens up our multidimensional abilities and connections. If we replace it with a machine part, what do you think happens? The medical field today already has an inkling of this, because they have seen what happens when people have body transplants, and now we're even talking about real body parts being transplanted, not machine parts. When real body parts are transplanted, like kidneys and livers, the personality of the patient whom had the transplant changes. They partly take on the personality of the donor. This has been proven, but mainstream science, in their usual manner, don't connect the dots because they don't believe in metaphysics. So, instead of Jesus, the great Savior, coming down to rescue us from Satan and his demons, Marduk, his Anunnaki crew, which include reptilian collaborators the Greys and the human hybrid global elite race, we may have a changing of the guards. The Nibiru home planet will now once again be in charge of the human population, only this time the slavery will be much more subtle and creep up on the human race. In the beginning everybody will have a job, food on the table, and a place to live. But there will be sophisticated surveillance cameras everywhere, if they are even needed, an implanted population who will stop thinking for themselves, but instead being part of a new 3D experiment which will pan out during a new cycle of 3D reality, which will start for real after the Earth splits in two, but has already had a jump start. And most importantly, after reading Dr. Borden's The Link, it definitely sounds like we humans will be forced to create a government here on Earth similar to that on Nibiru, and perhaps even accept Nanner as our king. My concern in this respect is a vision I've had of how the soldiers from Nibiru are taking a shortcut through time and space with the help from human assistance here on Earth. Many of the wars we see today are battles over territory, as described over and over in Sitchin's books, but are also mass human blood sacrifices, which empowers the Anunnaki and the negatively oriented Dracos and reptilians. However, the wars and the unrest in the Middle East is much more than just ethnic and religious wars over who owns what real estate amongst humans and gods. Humans have nothing to do with it, these are, and have always been, wars of the gods. I know for a fact that there are secret societies today who support the return of the gods and are working on opening stargates with sound, as we've discussed earlier. If my vision would be correct, God's angels will show up earlier than expected, but I have no real time frame that I can say for sure is correct. I just don't believe it will happen as soon as 2012. It looks to me that humankind is not quite ready for them yet. So what are we going to do about all this? Some readers may already have grasped the solution, but if you haven't, don't feel bad, because this is a complicated situation we are facing, and we have cruised smartly, to use a Pleiadian term. The next big thing that seems to be happening is what has been called, the wave of the supernova, or just the wave. It is supposed to occur by the end of 2012 and will be the real end of the world as we know it. Science is aware of this, aliens are aware of it, LPGC is aware of it, the Pleiadians and other metaphysical sources are aware of it as well. There are so many independent sources saying a similar thing that this event is most likely to happen. I brought it up in some details in my PDC paper number 5, present and future Earth changes and their true causes. I feel that the wave will be bringing the last load of gamma radiation before the end of the nanosecond. The wave will carry so much information that it will literally destroy the nervous system of many of those who are not at all prepared. The suicide rate will skyrocket, the amount of people going insane will as well, and many will die. Others, who have prepared themselves, will be ready and truly enjoy this last zip file of information being opened up, so those who have been waiting will be boosted with the energy and knowledge they need to evolve once and for all. Here is where the splitting of Earths will start happening for real. This is my vision of what the wave of the supernova is. So be prepared, be not afraid, it will be better than fine. It can for a while be overwhelming even for us who are prepared, but we will know what it is. Meditate, take deep breaths and go through it. On the other side, once it's passed, we are out on the other side, we passed the test. That will be the end of the nanosecond, the end of an era and the beginning of a new. And remember, the more you are prepared, the easier the transition. Light is knowledge and wisdom, and love is what is coming out of light, in that order. So, inhale the information from the sun, communicate with her, say hello to nature, the birds, squirrels, the trees, the flowers, show them that you know they are conscious and tell them they are beautiful. Look at the big trees, their roots are connected directly to the earth. They have access to all information Mother Earth can give them, same thing with plant life. Understand that you are living in the living library and that everything is sacred and must be nourished, but not worshipped. Understand all this and raise your consciousness, and you are up for some very uplifting surprises, to say the least. 3. Cruising through the end times. We are now at the end of 2011. Hopefully, this information will still be available after the end of 2012 as well, and I believe it will. However, whenever you read this, whether it is still 2011 or if it's 2012 and beyond, imagine yourself being highly supported and the sequence of events you are experiencing are part of a much larger picture, and that whatever happens will bring you to a higher state of consciousness. If chaotic things are happening in your life, look at them and ask yourself, what is the learning experience for me? If it's something big and challenging that is happening, make sure you find one or more gems you can pick out and learn from, so that the same thing will most likely not happen again. And if it does, you know how to handle it, and these things will cease to happen. Time is speeding up tremendously right now, and everybody is living their karma, to be prepared for what's to come. However, only those who understand karma and that what is coming at us are things along the lines of time, other lifetimes, other parts of you, that we have to heal and handle the karmic consequences of. When we know this, we can cruise smartly through these end times, and every time we manage to find the learning lesson in a karmic event and reverse the negative effect from it, we are taking a giant leap up the ladder of consciousness. If we ignore it, it will hit us again, but so much harder. And then again and again until we are forced to learn. If we still refuse to learn, it will be too overwhelming to live through when time collapses and timelines merge. Here is our big chance to advance spiritually, mentally, in mind, and physically, biologically, in body. Some people have tougher times than others, their karma along the lines of time can be hard to deal with. Still, we all must handle what comes our way, because they are the exact things that stopped us from evolving in the past, and now they hit us again. This is a very good thing, because we know that when we have handled and taken responsibility for our unhandled karma from other simultaneous lives, and healed the wounds, we are whole and ready to move on into a higher frequency and stay there. Take care of what is holding you down and really confront it, even if it's tough, and the reward will be greater than you can imagine in your wildest dreams. Those who are able to do the above will not have to deal with what is coming in regards to landing Anunnaki, Battle of Armageddon, and whatnot. We are simply not available for any of it, it's no longer in our reality. We don't need to take sides, we are not afraid, and by then our reality has changed so much that it won't even happen on our frequency. The Anunnaki have long been our catalysts, spreading fear and feeding off of our ignorance and fear vibrations. But when we no longer tune into any of that, they can't control us, we are not even in that reality. And they will not be interested. They are just interested in those they can control, as they have for millennia, and much, much longer on other 3D planets in this sector of the universe. But we will no longer be in 3D. We will move to a higher frequency version of Earth, based on love and understanding, not on fear and control. What do you feel inside? Do you feel that if you lived in a reality based on love and understanding, would you be able to keep that frequency without having to use fear and control to live and survive? If your answer is an instant yes, you're ready. You will feel it inside, and you can't wait for it to happen. You are ready to go through whatever necessary to reach there, and you feel you have battled almost all of your obstacles necessary on your way. You may be very tired and uplifted at the same time, but you feel you are ready. Love is the answer. If what I just said does not totally resonate with you, but you're almost there, don't worry. Just some more things to handle and then the peace of mind will come to you and this section of the paper will resonate with you. Time is near. Remove yourself from anything which holds you down. Negativity will of course still be around you, but you must learn how to separate yourself from it, because it's no longer in your own universe, it's in somebody else's. Yes, we're all one, but we are still on separate paths to explore reality on missions set by the Prime Creator, our ultimate self. It's not time yet to merge with all that is and become one with it. We're still exploring, and we are at the crossroads. Throw out all fear and negative control from your life, send it back to where it came from and put up a clear barrier, saying you're not available for that, it's not in your best interest and you are not choosing that path. Only save what is uplifting and enhancing for you and claim it as yours. Be very aware of that all people live on their own personal earth and have their own local universe, which is their reality, not yours. Don't get involved in people's dramas, they are just living out their karma and fear and work on reaching their goals and purposes just like you. Let them do it, because they need to go through it. If you interrupt them, you also interrupt their progress, and even if your intentions are good, be aware of how this works. Give good advice when applicable, help people so they can help themselves, but don't do the job for them unless in emergency situations. This is very important, not only for you but for their development. People make this mistake all the time, and therefore, it takes the receiver of help much longer to learn. Use discernment, always. Use intuition, guts feelings, and listen to your heart when you want to find out what is true and what is not. Your logical mind often can't figure it out, it's too complicated, too many layers of reality involved. If something makes you feel better, if it's uplifting and helps you reach a higher level of consciousness and awareness, and if it gives the power to you and not to some other deity or guru, go for it. But remember, what is true for you, and what works for you may not work for your neighbor, even if he/she is on a spiritual path, too. There are many ways, many roads, many mountains to climb, but eventually they lead to the same place, so have patience with people. They need to find their own way of doing things, it's important. You may not even remotely do it the same way as your neighbor, but for them it will work out. It may take longer, but it will work out in the end. Keep this in mind and do not judge. In the New Age movement, and much of the channeling material of lower quality, you constantly hear that on a certain date, usually 12/21/2012, Earth and all that's living on it will abruptly be thrown into the fourth and fifth dimensions, almost from one day to another. This is of course not going to happen. Yes, Earth is ascending, well, one or more versions of it is, but it just doesn't happen magically while everybody is sitting in the living room, waiting. We have to do the work. Humans are often lazy and want things to come to them without too much work involved, but this has to do with our future, and it does take work, a lot of it. This is a test of mankind's brilliance or stupidity. Stupidity can often be a naivete, thinking we will wake up one morning and Pentagon is gone, no troops in the Middle East, the lion sleeps with the lamb, that sort of thing. The same manipulators whom are controlling this world are taking advantage of this naivete in mankind and empower it by putting their own disinformation agents out there to do the job. There will be a revolution where people storm the government buildings and other violent events, and the truth movement is going to be split, thinking this is good, or it's a setup. Then a lot of energy is going to be directed toward who was starting these riots in the first place. The answer is, it doesn't matter. People will live out their rage, let them do it. It's part of the programming and they will probably not learn until they've done that a few times. But it's their reality, their universe, not yours, necessarily. Those who truly are on a path of ascension will not bother with these things. Once we've learned how this reality is set up, there will be a moment of epiphany when we realize that we don't need to fight it, it's enough we know it's there, so we can more easily build our own world. This is the reason why I started my website, Illuminati News, http://illuminati-news.com, in 1998, and its successor, my blog, News from Behind the Scenes, http://battleoferth.wordpress.com, in 2009. These websites are the first steps in understanding our reality. People from all paths in life can find their truth somewhere in these enormous databases. Then, when they know enough, they can start their new life by creating a new reality, a new earth, and that's where these papers come in. Now that they are released, 2011, I will only update the blog with information directly pertaining to currently released, or future release, of papers at http://wespenre.com. Other than that, I've come full circle. My intention is now to continue building wespenre.com and bring it to higher and higher levels of learning as I, myself learn more about life, which I then can share. 4. The cycle of universes. As we have learned in these papers, there is more than just one universe. There are as many universes as there are probabilities, so the amount of universes in the multiverse is potentially infinite. Each universe has its own goal, just like you and I have goals in a certain lifetime. A universe is like one of our lifetimes on a much higher level, lives its cycle, just like us, and when a cycle is completed, it dies, takes its collective experiences with it, and it is all sent to the Prime Creator as a collective experience of a whole universe. Even if all life forms eventually leave a dying universe, which has become depleted of energy, the collective memories of everything that has been experienced from its beginning to its end are contained long after the last intelligent being has left. A dying universe, keeping its collective experiences, then implodes into its central giant black hole, and perhaps merges with the Prime Creator. Then, this giant sphere of collective experiences once again, in a new cycle of experiences, now on a higher octave, continuing its existence from the beginning of a new probability, with new goals, bringing its experiences to higher levels existences. A new Big Bang will happen, a new enormous cosmic orgasm, and from this gigantic orgasm life will start all over again, having Creator God seeding new worlds, a universe with other kinds of goals this time. The universe reincarnates. That is what I believe is going to happen. It may clash with science and even alternative science, but it is what makes sense, because nothing ever really dies, it just changes form and continues its existence somewhere else, and life is following certain patterns from the tiniest nanoparticle to the vastest universe. These types of cycles, like the ones our universe is going through, happen to everything in the multiverse which is expanding its consciousness and awareness. It goes for universes, galaxies, stars/suns, planets, biological and onto energetic life forms equally. Our universe is expanding due to the thoughts and thoughts/actions of all the collective intelligence living in it. Pure thought creates probabilities, and thought/action will lead to experience, which will expand our reality, and at the same time, our universe. In the end, the universe will be a rather empty place. Most intelligent life will have left already, stars are cooling off and whole galaxies will be dark, like turning off light switches, one after the other, and they will float through space, containing only dark, dead matter. No stars, or very few old stars, will lighten up a universe as it is slowly dying. If someone from another universe was visiting ours at that time in the very far future, they would find a place without life. Planets that would still exist will be orbiting dying suns, or brown dwarfs, but contain no life. If the visitors were to land on one of these planets that was orbiting a star, emitting a very dim light, maybe they would, if they could get through the deep ice caps, find remnants of old civilizations, but that would be the closest to life they would find. A once super-energetic universe with billions of life forms has come to the end of its cycle. There would be little reason for the visitors to linger. I want to end this first level of learning with something written by a friend of mine on this very subject, and my comments on it. A cold, dark universe is billions, if not trillions, of years in the future. Between now and then, humans will face plenty of other calamities, wars and pestilences, ice ages, asteroid impacts, and the eventual consumption of Earth in about 5 billion years as our Sun expands into a red giant star. To last until the very end of the universe, an advanced civilization will have to master interstellar travel, spreading far and wide throughout the galaxy and learning to cope with a slowing, cooling, darkening cosmos. Their greatest challenge will be figuring out how to not be here when the universe dies, essentially finding a way to undertake the ultimate journey of fleeing this universe for another. Then, the person who made me aware of this added, "No, not really. We already know how. And the technology for single-nodal individual information clouds or souls is already here. Now, whole populations will be a feat in itself, but I think doable. Apparently, this is not the end of biological life. Only, the souls will continue. After all, isn't that what we really are? Nothing really dies, however. Even an empty, cold universe, perhaps dissolving into a nothingness, has been a container for life for an unknown billions, or trillions of years, and even if this container dissolves into dust or dark matter, it will still be part of the quantum and subquantum realm, integrated with the overall consciousness. Still, I don't believe this is the way it will be. The container will keep its collective memories intact and ascend to a higher octave. I believe my friend is absolutely right when he says that we, as souls or information clouds, are immortal and can even live through the death of a physical universe, because after all, as information clouds we are not physical to begin with. We choose to be physical to have an experience. And to experience through a whole cycle of a universe? What a ride! Still, even that may possibly only be the beginning. In the unperceivable future, when the end of a universe cycle comes, and if we are leaving, ascending to a higher form of universe where we can keep our focus, we will still see each other there, only so very much wiser than we are now. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth, befalls the sons of the earth. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Chief Seattle.